Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today you're going to be building up your very own city with parks and homes and shops and roads and factories, and you're going to be shaking it to do that. Shake That City is a family puzzly tile laying game for 2 to 4 players. It takes 20 to 40 minutes to play and is for ages 10 and up and is published by AEG. Now it's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final. Check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video to see all the final art and components. Now in this game, each player is building up their own city. This is mine, and this is it at the end of the game. So let me tell you what you're trying to do, and then we'll go over how you accomplish this. Now there's different types of buildings. There are shops, homes, parks, factories, and roads. Now you're going to be scoring for different ways of each of these buildings, and you'll be scoring for bonus tiles. Because at the beginning of the game, these tiles here, see how they come apart? They are randomly placed in a certain row, and then all players will then follow suit. So each player is going to have the same sort of beginning setup each game, but they will be different from game to game. That's just to make sure that everyone's sort of playing the same game, if you will. Now these are going to give you bonus points at the end of the game depending on certain things. For example, this one, if I have at least 4 homes, which are red, in this column, I don't, I have 3. But if I did, I'd be able to score this 3 points. Or in this row, if I had tiles in all 6. So each of these bonus tiles work the same way. Like this one is, if I had 4 greens, which I do, I would flip this over, or if I had 6 here. So because I had scored this, I would flip this over. This would remind me I get 3 points for that. This one, look at this. I have 4 roads here, but I also have this. I actually did it both ways. It doesn't matter. It's still 3 points. Now this one is, if I have at least 2 of all the tile types. And as you can see here, I do. I have 2 factories, at least 2 parks, at least 2 shops, at least 2 homes, at least 2 roads. So I'll flip this one over. Here we have, I don't have all of them here, and I don't have 4 here, so that just stays like this. This one here, I don't have, I'm 1 away from flipping this for this goal, and I don't have 4 factories here. This one is, do you have 4 tiles of different types? And I don't, I only have 3 different types, but I did get all of them here, so this one flips. So that's how you score the bonuses. So that's one thing you're planning throughout the game, is trying to score for some of these bonuses. So let's talk about how each of these tile types also score. They all score individually. The road, you'll get a point for each road that either touches the edge, which essentially is the concrete that will get you to different cities, essentially, or if they're connected to that. So all of these happen to be touching, so you'd get 1 point for all of them. If this road was in the middle of here, it doesn't get you any points. But if there's a road here, this also counts because, again, it can connect through a road to the end. Now the parks, they score your point if they're adjacent to at least 1 home. So this one would get a point. You'll also get a point if it's adjacent to at least 1 factory, like this one is. But if it's adjacent to at least 1 factory and at least 1 home, it gets 2 points. So this one is adjacent to both. This one's adjacent to both. Both of those score 2 points. This one would only get 1. This one would only get 1. Even though it's next to 2 homes, it's still at least 1 home, so that one still gets just 1 point as well. This one's also adjacent to at least both, so it gets 2 points. This one gets 1 point. So that's how that works. Now the factories work similarly to the parks, except they want to be next to roads and other factories. So this one will get a point because it's next to at least 1 factory. This one will get a point because it's next to at least 1 road, but it will also get another point because it's adjacent to another factory. Again, pretty similar to parks, but the factories want to be next to roads and or factories. If you're next to at least 1 of each of those, you get a point for both of those if you have it. So for example, if there was a factory here, it would just get 1 point because it's next to at least 1 road. Now let's talk about the blue shops. Let's say it looked like this. You'll get points depending on if that shop can connect to the outer edge of your city, the concrete there. You're going to get 1 point, like this one's connected directly to it. It gets 1 point because it's in the green area. This one here is in the brown area, but it does connect through at least 1 road to the concrete. So this is going to get 2 points because it's in the brown area. This one's not connected to a road that will bring it out, so it gets nothing. These ones would get 1 point because it's in the green area, it's touching concrete. If this one were connect through roads to here, then it would get 3 points because it's in the gravel sort of silver area there. Now the homes, they score 2 points for any individual home or any group of homes. So that one's 2 points. but this whole group is also just 2 points, so you don't want them to be next to each other. You kind of want them scattered around, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, unless it's next to a factory. So again, diagonals don't count in this game. Adjacents does never count for diagonal. So this would actually not get a point because it's next to a factory. And there is a nice handy dandy reference cardboard slat here that you can look at to help yourself understand the scoring. And also, while you're scoring, you'll use a notepad, so it's a little easier to keep track of everything. So let's talk about how you do this. The game is 15 rounds long. Now, there are a bunch of cubes. Each of these correspond with a different color of building tiles. Now, on the handy dandy player aid, you'll see at the bottom there, it shows you, like on the bottom right, you see how many red cubes there are. All the way down to the bottom left, how many roads. So the homes are, there's the most of them, then shops, then factories, then parks, then roads. So most to least, so it's not an even distribution, and you need to know that. Now, so at the beginning of the game, all these cubes are gonna get pushed into this shaker. So the active player is going to take this shaker and they're going to shake the city. And when they're done, they're going to push this in. Then they're going to sort of align everything. Look at that, a perfect 3x3 grid. Then the active player is going to decide which color of building tiles that associate with these that they want. For example, if they chose red, look at that, there's one here and there's one just to the right of it. Now what they would do is they would take two, because that's how many are here, and they would place them right next to each other like that. But they could place it pretty much anywhere that's open. You can't place on top of tiles. Once they're placed, you can't move them. So this one's pretty easy. They could go something like this, but they would announce to everyone, I'm taking the red. All other players, none of them could take the red, but all of them simultaneously figure out which ones they want. They would, just maybe take a green tile, maybe take a single road, maybe take two blues, or maybe take the blacks. Now, just to show you how this works, if this player selected a black, and remember, whatever color the active player takes, the other players cannot, but everyone else will do it simultaneously, and the other players can take the same color. For example, if the active player takes the black factories, it would look like this, because look, one, it skips over one, so it's like this. But again, it cannot never be rotated or anything like that, but they can kind of go like this, or maybe they go like this, or maybe they go like this. They can put it anywhere, but it has to, all the tiles have to be able to be placed, and they all have to be placed on empty spots. But again, if we selected this, then nobody else would take black, but anyone else could take any other color. So multiple players might be like, hey, I'm gonna take two shops, or two homes, or this road. And again, so you're placing it in certain spots on your board. So placing the single ones are a little easier, right? Because you don't really have a lot of restrictions. These ones are more restricted, but you're getting more things out. So there's a good balance there. Now, once everyone's done that, the active player is going to put all the cubes for that round back in here, pass this to the next player clockwise. That player's going to do the same thing. Shake, put some cubes out, they'll decide what color, and then everyone else picks a different color. However, once you get to the 13th, 14th, and 15th round, even though the first player picks a color, everyone else can pick the same color if they want to. So that requirement of you not picking the same type of tile that the active player does, that does not happen in the last 3 rounds to give you a little bit of flexibility when your board is the tightest. Whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. There's also a back side of the board that is a beachfront property because it has grass and it goes to dirt, then it has a little sandy area, and then there's beaches here. Now, some of the tiles will score in the same way, but it gives you different strategy because there's different layout. However, some of them score differently. For example, the shops still get you 3 points if they're in this gray area and connected to the concrete. Now notice, this is the beach. It can't connect there. It needs to connect to somewhere here. So it's harder and longer to connect these with roads, but you'll still get like 3 points for this, 2 here, 1 here, but it makes it more difficult to get the better points for the shops. Now, with the homes, you still score 2 points for every home or group of homes, but you'll get an additional point if it's next to the beachfront here. So again, this is now going to get 3 points. Now the parks, they still get 1 point if they're next to any amount of homes, but they'll get an additional point if they're also next to a beach. So this one will only score 1 point. This one scores 2 because it's next to at least one home and it's next to the beachfront here. So different ways to score. It does change the game up and gives you more of an advanced way to play. Well, there you have Shake That City, and as I showed in the overview, you're shaking out patterns of cubes and using them to build the best city block, earning points for tile placement combinations and for the randomized bonuses each game. Now, if you'd like to see all the most up-to-date art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me right in the description of this video. Now, that's going to take you right to the project page, and I'm sure that AEG would love your support.